To Pixeltests, AI scientist and Web3 engineers. My name is Sabyasachi, and let's get started with Python in 10-minute series. In this series, we are going to learn about classes. Now, what we'll try to do is try to understand the classes in detail by practicing a little. Now, if you see, there is this first class which is triangle, and number of sides is 3. So all triangles are going to have now sides as 3. So now this is a class member variable, right? It is default for all of the objects that get created. Now, whenever a new object gets created, what is initialized? Angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3, right? So whatever is passed in the parameter as an argument, that is given as an attribute for that particular object. Now, what we are trying to do next is we are trying to define another method apart from the initialization, where we only have the self parameter, which is just going to be the object. Okay. Now, what we are going to do here is check angles. Now, the sum of all the angles in a triangle should be 180. So that is what we are going to check. Then only it is going to be a triangle. So we are going to return true if it is equal to 180, false if it is not. Okay. So we are going to say define check angles pass self if self of angle 1 plus self of angle 2 self dot angle 3 is equal to 180, return true, else return false, right? So this is a method. Now we have another class which is equilateral, which is inheriting the properties of a triangle, which means, and here it also has its own class member variable, which is 60, because in all of the angles of an equilateral triangle is 60, right? So when we are initializing an object of equilateral, or the angle 1, angle 2, and angle 3 are going to be the angle, which is 60, right? So this is how this work. What we are trying to do right now is yeah, so this is a little about inheritance in detail. Okay, now let us look at a few more examples where we initialize the objects also. Now we have a class which is car, and the condition is new, right? So this is the class member variable which is default for all of the objects. Now when we initialize, there are 3 variables that are getting added as attributes, which is model, color, and MPG. Now these are member variables. The objects are going to have these particular attributes. Okay. Now here init is initializing a class, and now my car equal to car, and passing on the variables model, color, and MPG. Now this DeLorean is the model, silver is the color, 88 is the MPG. Now this is the instance or object, right? Now we are trying to print my car dot model, which is this particular member variable, and my car dot color, my car dot MPG are member variables. My car dot condition is calling the class member variables, so which is this one. So if we try to do something similar here, my triangle equal to, what we are trying to do here is triangle of the object name we are going to pass as my triangle. Okay, so we have passed it on. Okay, we are okay. So we are passing my triangle equal to triangle, and in parentheses we have angle 1, angle 2, angle 3 to be passed. So we are going to pass 30, 60 and 90, right? So what are we trying to do here is, okay, sorry, the spelling is triangle, right? So now I'm just going to run it. So this is the same way. So the object will get created, my triangle. Now I'm going to print my triangle dot angle 1, which will be 30, and I am going to print my triangle dot number of sides, right? So if I run it, you can see that the first angle is 30 and the number of sides is 3, right? So the same way here also you are going to get the respective values, right? Now class methods is the way we have created these. These are the class methods. You can see check angle, right? So now if we want to check this, it is my triangle dot check underscore angles, right? So okay, so this is there. Now let us try to print it. Okay, and braces, parentheses, never forget that. Just true, right? So the sum of them is true. Now this particular method is the class method, right? Now if you look at, okay, let's make a note of it. This is class method. Okay, now if you look at a little in detail, here also we don't have to run it. Car object was created and the condition is new, and there are 3 attributes that are passed like we have seen. Now there are class methods that are written: display car and drive car, right? So let us try to add them here. Display car and the drive car, right? So print function needs parentheses. Okay, now what we are going here is, there is another car object, another class electric car, which is inheriting the actual car, right? So whatever condition it will have, the electric car will also have, right? Model, color and MPG are already there, and there is a new parameter or attribute being added, which is battery type, right? So here also we have our own drive car method, though it is already there in the parent class. This particular function method is overriding whatever was there in the drive car here, right? So it will say it earlier, if we are driving the car, it used to say used, here used but still new, right? So we are modifying the member variables by writing functions in the inherited class that we have created, right? So now if you see my car equal to electric car, and we have created this new object my car. which is an object of the inherited class, right? We have passed on the 4 attributes here. So now we are trying to print my car condition, then we drive the car, and then we check the condition again, right? So let us try to run this. Okay, we'll try to run this freshly here. Okay, no changes. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, let us try to first print my car condition. Right, so the my car condition, the electric car's condition is new, right? So then what we are trying to do, we are going to drive the car. Okay, so we have driven the car. Now we'll check the my car condition. Now what happened is, in general, if you see the condition drive car function should actually just say used, but it is saying used but still new, because we have overridden the method that is there in the parent class, right? So this is going to be the modifying member variables or methods, right? Now a little now we'll also see how to make our function initialization beautiful, right? Sometimes, yeah. So now building useful classes means now we have seen that whenever we print any particular class, it comes in a particular format, right? So this is called the representation. Now there is a specific method which is underscore repr underscore. Now this is short for representation. And how does this work is, we will create a class point 3D, and there is object as the parameter. Now when it is initialized, we are passing on the parameters x, y, z, and self.x equal to x, self.y equal to y, self.z equal to z. Now the object gets initialized, and then there is another function which is repr. What happens here is, like the functions where we are directly passing on self, we are going to pass on self, and it is going to represent %d. So there is a print statement. Whenever you are running a print statement, this is how it is formatted, right? So the placeholder %d will have self.x, self.y, and self.z, right? So now we have created a new object, my point equal to point 3d 1, 2, 3. Now when you print my point, it will print in the format if it is defined wherever there is a representation function. If we do not have the representation function, it will not print or print in a different format. So let's try to comment this, try to print. Now you see it has printed in a format that you don't understand, right? Or which is as good as not printed. Okay. So indentation is very important. Now, whenever you're printing something, having a function repr is going to be helpful to format the object prints better. Now, having a repr function will help you to format your objects and functions better, right? So this brings us to the end of this session. This brings us to the end of this particular session. In today's session, we have progressed a little more in our Python learning journey. In our next session, we will see how to work with files, input and output. The link to the free Python email course, the code snippets and notes for today's session are in the description. If you like this video, please drop in the top 3 learnings in the comment section and do subscribe to the channel. Thank you.